I would rather work 75 to 80% of the time at full volume than 100% of the time at like 60% volume. It doesn't make sense to me. Like you're not enjoying it as much, and then your productivity and efficiency sucks anyway. So it's like,
Yeah.
you need to give yourself a little bit of time to kind of rest and recuperate, or else nothing is worth it at that point if you don't do that. Oh, really, really bad news. Sometimes you got to just turn off. Like my condo where I live, sometimes I just need to come back and literally I won't even turn the TV on. I won't even put music on. I will just sit down and like stare at the ceiling. I think sometimes always having to be around stimuli, like if you always have to listen to music or always have to do this or that, you're not hearing your own thoughts. You're not really thinking. You're kind of drowning it out all the time. Sometimes you need to just like stare at something and just contemplate. I do take supplements, actually. Yeah, I try to, as much as I can, take quite a bit of them because I feel like my diet, I can't always eat how I want. Not even how I want. Like sometimes what I want is not good. But
welcome to the Collaborative Resource Hub by Wellness Provisions. We're bridging the gap between mental health, wellness, and rock and roll. I'm Amy McBride, owner of Wellness Provisions, the most badass wellness business. Hey, are you feeling a little stuck in life? I offer wellness coaching sessions. Book a session with me if you're seeking to get healthy and ahead. Sessions are available worldwide. And check this out. Wellness Provisions supplies rock and rollers with high-quality supplements. We've simplified your shopping experience and given you a trustworthy place to go where you can essentially shop blindfolded. And did you know all our Collaborative Resource Hub interviews air on YouTube as well as all major podcast platforms? Subscribe to stay in the loop. Go immerse yourself in the full Collaborative Resource Hub experience over on our website. You'll have access to helpful resources that will inspire and educate you. So let's inspire each other. If that guy did it, so can you. Last but not least, my legal disclaimer. Nothing in this interview or the Collaborative Resource Hub substitutes medical advice. Please connect with your GP if you need medical guidance.
Mike, how are you?
how's it going? I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm glad you're well. I'm also doing well. Yeah. It's hot outside today. I just turned my air conditioning on for the very first time, and we're recording on June 12th. And I live in North Carolina, and it's been this long. I haven't needed it.
Nice. Well, it's in between being sunny and rainy in Orange County right now. It's a little weird for us, but I guess the June gloom,
Sounds dreary, but where you are is light and bright looking.
Yeah. No, yeah. It's nice. The sun actually just came out like a few minutes ago. So perfect. I think it knew this was gonna happen.
Yeah, that's what happens. So tell me, we're just gonna off at the races here. Question number 1.
Yeah.
What does wellness mean to you?
What does wellness mean to me? I mean, I would say I think it's a balance of things you do in your life that keep you in optimal performance to kind of do whatever it is you need to do, as hard as that is to do.
That is a very concise answer. So like, what does that look like for you then personally?
I mean, ideally what it would look like is very different than realistically what it looks like.
Start with the ideal and then go with reality.
I mean, ideal, like specifically diet specifically. I think ideally it's just having a lifestyle that makes it take as long as possible for you to physically age. Probably eat, your lifestyle, what you do, everything.
Yeah.
Trying to be as young as you can, as long as you can, if that's your goal.
Yeah. When you are on the road, do you make an effort to, or I guess how much of an effort or whatever to try and stay on top of your health and well-being when you're out there?
It depends on the tour. Some are a lot easier than others to do that. Some tours are on a bus and you have the ability to get groceries and like have a fridge and all that kind of stuff. And that's great. And you can bring your supplements, you can do this and that and have room and everything to kind of like to have the same thing happen every day. You can have consistency, whereas other tours, you're in a van and you're sleeping in people's houses sometimes. And that's a lot harder to have that lifestyle. So I think it's pretty difficult to kind of have a consistent, healthy lifestyle on tour, but it is possible. And a lot of people are very successful at that. It just kind of depends on the situation and what you're doing and your consistency and your diligence.
Yeah. Is there, I guess, has there ever been a point in your life, I guess it could even be multiple points, but like where you had to put yourself first, like your own well-being and mental health or whatever first?
I mean, in a sense, I kind of try to do it every tour. Like, I try to do that all the time, like you try to, when you're on a tour with multiple individuals, whether it's just the immediate band you're in, if it's a small DIY tour of like 4 or 5 people, or a bigger tour where it's multiple bands on a bus, like you're in a bus of 20 people. And you got to get alone time. You got to break away from the pack and you got to get some peace and quiet. It's really hard. I mean, on some ends, to be fair, if you go with a different group often, like you're a person who fills in for different groups, it can be a little different because going out with different people, it's fresh every time. You
Mhm.
kind of don't get used to it. In regards to like if it's your band you've been touring with for a long time, like they could be your best friends, but you need to get some like breakaway time. I think that's like one of the most important things for, like, I would say, is being
Yeah.
able to do that, get good sleep and be able to break away from the pack and just be by yourself.
Yeah. When you're at home, like, in your normal day to day, what is your sleep hygiene look like?
Oh, well, like my sleep schedule is pretty all over the place because it just depends. It depends on what I'm doing. I try to get 6 to 8 hours of sleep. So even if I go to sleep at 3 in the morning, my intended goal would be then to sleep till 10.
Right.
Because I'm probably up late because I have to, and I'm going to allow myself to sleep in. But sometimes you can't. Sometimes you have to wake up earlier. But I think as long as you're like 70 to 80% what you intend on doing,
Hmm.
I think that at least makes a big dent in it.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, and that's it. Like everyone has like, and that's why I was asking you earlier, as far as like, the ideal version and then reality, because so many people are like, oh, I do this all the time. But it's like they actually don't. And
Yeah.
I think more of us need to like realize like it's okay to, um, have days off on some stuff or like miss the mark sometimes, because like that's part of self-care is like forgiving yourself.
Oh yeah. I mean, we're all, we're only human. I mean, I would rather work 75 to 80% of the time at full volume than 100% of the time at like 60% volume. It doesn't make sense to me. Like you're not enjoying it as much, and then your productivity and efficiency sucks anyways. So it's like
Yeah.
you need to give yourself a little bit of time to kind of, rest and recuperate, or else nothing is worth it at that point if you don't do that. Like, why are you doing what you're doing if you can't allow yourself some time? I mean, if you're able to. Some people aren't able to, I guess, but if you are, it would
I don't
behoove you to
know.
be able to do it.
It's still priorities. Like you're still prioritizing your time. So like the whole like not having time for something, I don't really buy it. Unless
Yeah.
it's like a single parent with like several kids and two
Yeah.
jobs, that that would be tricky.
Yeah. Like, for example, when I was rebuilding my Airbnb to get up to be able to rent it from when I bought it, like I felt like every day I took off was just one more day that I'm going to have to be paying money and owing debt before I could start recouping money. And at a point when you start running out, you're like, I felt like I had no choice but to keep, like, you can't stop. But then I did have this, I think for me though, instead of taking the small breaks that probably would have been beneficial, I told myself when this is done, I'm going to give myself this massive treat. Like I'm going to give myself a vacation. I'm going to do something rad. And that kind of like boosted me and gave me the like energy. All right, whatever, fuck it. Like we're just going to keep going. Because when this is done, I'm going to go nuts for a little bit.
Yeah.
So I
And
guess maybe traded all the little ones for the idea of one big one.
okay. And that worked for you? Like if you started like wanting to bang your head into the wall from exhaustion or frustration, like you're like remembering that you had that, at the end of the line, it helped.
Yeah, it did. And for me personally,
Yeah.
like if you can kind of see some light at the end of the tunnel, I think that helps a lot. It's when you can. It's when you're so far into something, but still so far away from being done. That's that arduous moment where you're just like, oh my gosh, like, is this ever going to end? I don't know what's going on anymore. But I think if you can get past that kind of stuff, hopefully early on enough where you can see the ending, that helps you definitely push
Yeah.
through. Not to say breaks aren't amazing. You should take breaks, but I was kind of neurotic when I was doing it. I'd be up to like 3 or 4 in the morning, just like painting and doing like the dumbest stuff just because I just didn't want to stop.
Yeah. I mean, but when I was first starting my business, like, I don't know, 4 years ago or something, I was like that because like some projects, like you are just so focused on, that's just, you're living and breathing it until it's done. And everyone's like, oh, you should be taking a break. But like really when you are that engrossed in something, I don't even think your brain, even if you make the time, it's not going to chill out.
I mean, I think that's that's the essence of being obsessive about something, and I think that's how a lot of people get really talented at things is to become obsessive.
Yeah.
Like I understand that, like, when a human is a child, when someone's a child, their brain can soak up information, all that. Yeah. Neuroplasticity is good, I guess, all that. But I think more than that, the kids have the time to get obsessive about things. So they get really good. When you're a kid, you'll spend 8 hours straight. If you like playing a sport or an instrument or something like that, you're going to do that every waking moment that you're able to do that, you're going to do that. Whereas
Mhm.
as an adult, you just don't put that much time into something. It would be hard for me to believe a grown adult with a or whatever, some rendition of a full-time job or a career, and if they have a family or not, can really put 3 hours a day dedicated to learning something that's not making money for their family or whatever.
Yeah.
I think it's rare,
I would agree with that.
but
Yeah.
every kid has all the time in the world to just like go for it. I think is really how you kind of get efficient and good at things.
Yeah. How do you balance like your stress levels just like in your day to day?
I mean, I don't know if this is going to be a favorite answer or not, but I'm going to be honest. Like, smoking marijuana helps quite a bit.
Yeah.
You know, like I know it has the optics of it. Lazy stoner, but for me, it kind of helps me level myself to be able to pick one project at a time to kind of attack and kind of get through it, and then it gives me patience because sometimes some things you got to do are not fun, and it's like, especially when it's a very long thing you have to do, whatever it is. And just to kind of like, oh my God, I need to keep my sanity. Fine, I'm gonna smoke a little bit, and it kind of takes edge off. So that's one thing for me personally, that's one thing that kind of helps my sanity. Like touring a lot and doing a bunch of random things. Like my lifestyle is very like unstable in the sense of it's just comprised of a lot of things. I try to put too much on my plate.
So like what happens when your plate is just like way too full? What do you
I
do?
get to prioritize. You have to prioritize what is important, and then I think be honest and not lie to yourself that you're gonna be able to do all these extra things, and just kind of sometimes you got to accept that's not gonna happen right now. Like I have to put that off. That's gonna wait. This is the one that's not important right now. I got to do X, Y, and Z instead, and that's what I'm gonna focus on. Which is sometimes really hard because you get like I'm the type of person that when I go out to eat, like it takes me like 20 minutes to pick out what I want to eat because I'll get really bad buyer's remorse. So I have to like make lists of things I want to do, or else I'll get sidetracked. And yeah, I have to be very like visual with that about making lists so I can like look at something that I can cross off. These are my tasks today. These things can wait.
Yeah, knowing like just, like a brief I don't know, basically peeping your Instagram and seeing everything that you do. That was a question that I wrote down here. How do you stay organized with your bands, with your clothing company thing, with the Airbnb, like all of that? Like that was, yeah, what works for your brain?
I don't know. It doesn't really work, to be honest with you. Like sometimes sometimes I definitely do have moments where I'm like, oh man, I just double booked myself right now. Luckily, I play in bands that on both sides are okay with if they have to get a fill in for something. We have a good enough network of musicians in Southern California, and I'm friends with enough people. We all are as a band that like if that's what needs to happen and it's fine, it works. It's nice to have band members that kind of like understand that kind of stuff. Like the
Yeah.
one and Death by Stereo, everyone in the band is in other bands. So everyone has to understand, you know what I mean? Because if you want to be understood by doing that, you have to understand if your other bandmates doing that. And at the end of the day, you want your friends to do as best as they can do. And if that means another opportunity is that, you should be happy for them, you know?
Yeah, that's very true. That kind of positive, like, support and encouragement and stuff for friends. It's not always there, like, truly at like the core. So
Oh yeah,
that's,
I think a lot of
yeah.
times it's not there at all. I think a lot of times, I mean, jealousy and that kind of, envy and jealousy is a very, very vicious thing when it comes to, even if it's your friend, you're like, wait, they just got this opportunity. Fuck, why didn't I get an opportunity like that? Like, I deserve an opportunity like that. But I think that's dumb. I don't know. A rising tide lifts all boats. And like, I want everyone around me to be doing as best as they can, because one day I might need help. And if they're doing good, then they can help me out, and vice versa. If you're doing as good as you can be doing, the ability to help someone else is that much better for you.
Hmm. Yeah.
So,
Plus, like, it feels so much better to be just happy for somebody, and
yeah,
like the love that like you put out will just come back to you tenfold, like.
I agree.
Also, really quick, Samson, he quoted you in the interview I had with him for the the ship rising tide thing.
Oh, did he? Oh
Yeah,
man.
and it was him saying that like I was like, huh, I want to look that guy up. Who's that guy? Like, I like that. And so that's what made me curious about you.
Oh, I love him. That's so rad. That's cool.
Yeah. So that's funny. Um, have you always been, a positive kind of supportive person, or what?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. As far as back as I can remember, I've always kind of been hyper and happy, for the most part, I mean, not obviously all the time, but yeah, I don't know. I like being around people that are happy. It makes me happy when I'm around people that are happy. So I would rather people be doing good, because then that makes me feel better.
Yeah.
Not to say you don't get jealous about things. I mean, of course you do. Everyone does. But I think it's realizing that's all it is. Like, you're still happy for the person, but you're kind of like, "Ooh, I'd love that. That sounds so rad." But
Hmm.
you're very person or whoever, whatever it is, you're very happy that it happened for the person.
Yeah. Because I've also heard, the idea of that kind of jealousy being like, if that opportunity was there for them, then something like the universe can make something available for you too. Like, it just
Yeah.
shows that like that kind of success or whatever is available. So like I try and remember that when I see that kind of like random people or friends or whatever having, whatever level of that I want, or whatever, that it just means it's available.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's also just goes to the more things you do, the more people you put yourself around, I think the more opportunity you can get too. So it's like, be around people that are doing good. Like, you want to be around people who are crushing it. Cause I mean, on one end, it's just like, it's kind of contagious in a sense where their vibe of pushing and doing more and more and more kind of like rubs off on you. And you're like, oh yeah, shit, I should be doing that too. And I think that's, it's good. I don't think it shouldn't be a point of contention. It shouldn't be a point of jealousy. It should be, I want to be surrounding myself around this too.
Yeah. It's like you want all of your friends to be like smarter than you, basically, so that you can
Oh
just learn.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, my dad told me when I was a kid, cause my dad's he's a bass player, and he's been a bass player since he was a little kid. And when I was like starting to play music when I was young, he's like, play with people way better than you. He's like, always play with people that you feel like you are the weak link, and you got to like get better. And I don't know, at the time, you're like, oh, whatever, dad. But like, yeah, it's totally true. You want to be around people doing better than you, because it kind of pushes you. It should ultimately want to, push you to want to do that too.
Yeah.
And
Agreed.
it's possible. And you're like, this guy's not that much smarter than me. Like, fuck, if he can do it, I can do it. Like, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I can do something, whatever. I can figure this out. Like,
Yeah.
Here's an advert in less than 50 seconds. Are you sick and tired of feeling sick and tired? Do you want to feel better in your mind and body? Then check out the wellness coaching that I offer. It's kind of like therapy. You can share what's on your mind, and then it's all about taking action. You'll learn new tools to help you heal and grow through what's tripping you up. We can focus on anything from physical health to mental health. Schedule a free 15-minute consult over on the website to learn more. And check out our Healthy Touring course. This self-guided online video course is for any level of musician. Whether you tour all the time or only sometimes, you'll learn a ton if your goal is to play better, feel better, and be better. With special appearances by members of Descendants, Teenage Bottle Rocket, The Last Gang, Lawrence Arms, and more. Head over to the website for all the details. Now, back to the interview.
So how do you deal with like bad news or just shitty days or whatever? Like, what do you do when it's cloudy, if you will?
Depends on what it is. It depends how severe, how everything like that. Like, it just slight bad news is just like, oh well. Like shit happens, I guess. But really, really bad news. Sometimes you gotta just turn off. Like I think like coming back to where I live, like my condo where I live is just, sometimes I just need to come back and literally I won't even turn the TV on. I won't even put music on. I will just sit down and like stare at the ceiling. I think sometimes always having to be around stimuli, like if you always have to listen to music or always have to do this or that, you're not really you're not hearing your own thoughts. You're not really thinking, you're kind of drowning it out all the time. Sometimes you need to just like stare at something and just contemplate.
Yeah.
I think that's like sometimes the only way to get through things too. Like you'll get through something. You'll have to think about it enough, but maybe it just takes longer because you don't give yourself time to do it.
I agree with that. So do you ever meditate like intentionally?
Not necessarily. I don't necessarily like, not traditionally like meditate. For me, I feel I get something similar when I do things very cathartic that I can turn my brain off. I know it's not the same and meditation is probably very different, but like I feel like almost playing drums sometimes like on a show when I know the song's good enough, when I can just sit back and just let my brain just kind of run on autopilot. I get the feeling of just what I imagine a meditation kind of feels like, a very cathartic thing that at the end of it, you feel refreshed.
Mm-hmm.
And whereas physically you might be drained and you're mentally drained for the fact that you just like did a bunch of stuff, but you also feel like emptied out,
Yeah.
It's like you got that out. So yeah, I don't sit and meditate. I don't do yoga, which would be an amazing thing, but I don't. But I feel like that gives me that sense. And even after a show, when you're sitting, relaxing after you do that, just close your eyes for like 10 minutes and just like space. I imagine it's probably.
It is. Because I've talked to a lot of people who get that same, it's being able to just quiet your brain and just chill your thoughts out and just have that disconnection. And yeah, you get it from music. You can get it from swimming or running, whatever, like exercise stuff. It doesn't have to be like traditional sitting meditation. So congratulations, you meditate.
Thank you. This is a good thing to realize. 38 years later, I realize I do it.
Surprise.
Amazing.
This is me drawing a blank right now.
All good. I do it all the
time. I'm gonna edit this part out. I wanted to just check my questions here if there's anything specific. Okay. Do you want a fun question right now?
Let's go. I love fun.
Okay. If you had to plan like a self-care day for yourself, like just your ultimate day of awesomeness, what would it consist of from start to finish?
Like anything?
Yeah. From waking up, if like you sleep in, and like what'd you eat for breakfast, or like like people answer it like if they go hiking or something, or like what they eat for, like literally whatever the fuck would make like Mike's awesome day. What would it consist of?
Fair. Yeah. Okay. That sounds very fair. Well, I'm going to go into the context that the night before I did not go out late and I could get sleep. So I could wake up decently early.
Okay.
And anyone who's toured with me knows that I love chocolate chip pancakes. That would be my breakfast. I would get chocolate chip pancakes and hash browns because that's my favorite thing in the world to get for breakfast. And then, you know what? A hike would be really fun. A hike through the redwoods, because I think the redwoods are one of the coolest places to be.
Yes.
Right? And then I think I would go to the beach because I love the beach. But
All right.
it wouldn't be the woodsy beach because that's cold. It would be magically transporting to like Hawaii.
Okay.
Why not? And I think for dinner, I think I would have to have a big ribeye steak. That's my final meal. That's my death row meal.
Okay. Any sides or just the steak?
Sides wouldn't be important enough for me to even be the best one, you know? The steak is just go to.
Okay. Okay.
Caesar
Do you,
salad. Caesar salad and ribeye steak.
oh, Caesar salad. Okay.
There you go.
Do you have steak sauce with said steak?
No, a good steak doesn't need steak sauce.
Right?
Yeah, no, you don't need a steak sauce.
No.
No.
Although I've started like I make one like a sauce, like when I make steak, I'll make a sauce and it's really good because I've tried like a bottle of steak sauce. I'm like, this stuff is terrible. But then I
Like,
make sauce
yeah.
and it's actually tasty.
Well, there you go. The homemade jam is the way to go.
Yeah. And then your pancakes, okay? So do you put maple syrup on them? How much
Yeah.
maple syrup? Because there's already chocolate chips.
Oh, gobs. God, I'd like trying to be healthy while eating garbage is like stupid to me.
No.
Like, I've tried a lot of fad diets. So I've done like juice diets, like 2 day, or I'm sorry, like 2 week, 3 week juice cleanses and smoothie diets and this and that. And I just don't feel like doing an unhealthy thing and trying to be healthy about it. You know, like if I'm gonna eat something that's unhealthy, I'm just gonna eat that. Like, so where I was going with that thing was like going keto. I went keto for like 6 months, and I tried to get keto pizza, and it was like, dude, it was fucking god awful. Like, I'm just not gonna eat pizza because this diet I'm trying to do is completely not this, and
Exactly.
I'm not gonna half-ass it. So it's like if I'm gonna eat pizza, it's gonna be regular. If I'm gonna eat chocolate chip pancakes, I'm gonna pour all the syrup on it.
Okay, well, just in my defense, okay, I was asking about the syrup by way of preference because like I don't like a ton of syrup, especially when there's chocolate chips. It's just like my preference that it's too sweet. I was just wondering.
Fair. No, okay, I hear that. It's the two weeks around. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not usually like a super, super sweet person. Like I don't like candy. Like I don't like gummy bear, like any weird gummy looking plasticky sugar fruit like thing. It weirds me out. But like apple pie, like that will get me every time. You know what I mean? So the chocolate chip and like syrup, it's something that I know where it comes from. Like, I don't know. It doesn't look like plastic to me. And so I know if it's good maple syrup, you know what I mean? Like the
That's what I
sweetness
was
of fine. You know, if it's Aunt Jemima, like terrible, like, 99-cent like bottle stuff, yeah, not good. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of just want to be like, I'll binge and I'll purge. I don't want to be a glutton about it. If I'm
Mhm.
cakes.
Do you like chocolate? Well, yeah, you like chocolate chips. Okay. I have a recipe for paleo fudge pops, and it's just like raw cacao, gelatin, coconut milk, a little bit of vanilla or salt or something, and then maple syrup is the sweetener. They're super good.
That sounds actually really good. There was a cake that my friend at Two Birds Baking, she made me this like keto, like chocolate, like torte cake kind of deal. And it kind of sounded like that, where it was like, it was so good. And it is what helped me get through 6 months of being keto, was having little things like that here and there.
Yeah.
Even then, like I'll still be like, all right, well, I can eat this. So then I'll just glutton on that and I'll eat too much of it. That's why sometimes I like can't even allow myself to do it. My self-control get really bad. So
Mhm.
I just kind of cut it off sometimes.
Is there anything you still kind of like incorporate from having done keto? Like, do you maintain any of that at all?
I mean, I do feel a lot better when I eat slightly lower carb. Like, not saying, someone should be like, going keto and like negative, no carbs right now, but I do feel better. Maybe at least the processed carbs, like when I eat a big bowl of pasta the next morning, I don't wake up feeling the greatest anymore. Maybe it's I'm getting older too. That could very well be it. But yeah, I for everything I've done, any kind of like trend diet or fad diet or just like something I've tried, I felt like that was the one that made me feel the best. I feel like having, and by keto, I don't mean actually like getting the exact proportions of fat. Like that was intended, but I wasn't that strict on it. It was
Yeah.
more just no carbs and, some fat and a lot of protein.
Yeah.
And eating like that actually made me feel really good. It was a little harder because one of my favorite foods is ramen, and I'm an Italian family, so like pasta, but you could still eat every once in a while for like, to kind of shock your body out of it, like, back and forth.
Mhm.
And so I would make my cheat days like fun. Those cheat days, I would go have ramen. I would go do this and that. And then it would kind of, for 2 weeks or whatever, I'd be good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. That's like, because I went like hardcore paleo probably, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago or something. And
Yeah.
like, and then over the years, it's like now I basically still don't eat grains, but it's like if I want sushi and there's rice on it, the world goes on, like it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice people enjoy stuff. And when I can, sometimes in between tours, I'll try to be like, okay, I know on this specific tour, I ate like garbage half the time, because sometimes you only have rest stops and fast food to eat at. Like some bands you're with that, you're not the deciding factor on where you go. Sometimes that's just, you end up going where you go. You're the one person out of 6 or 7. Everyone's, oh, we're going here. All right, we're going there. So sometimes you don't have the option to like pick and choose. So when you get home, it's like, I'm going to eat everything exactly how I want to do it, because you have the ability, like, to be able just to do that. And it's kind of nice to have that kind of control.
Yeah. What's like the weirdest or just shittiest diet that you've put yourself on?
Well, I was going through like this weird, like nothing serious, but I was going through this little health issue for a little bit, like a digestive issue. And I went on a juice diet for about, I want to say it was in full 23 days of just juice. And it was really difficult. Like I felt like I had to do it, and it probably wasn't the healthiest thing I could have done at the moment, but it seemed necessary for what I was going through. And
Okay.
so, yeah, but just straight, I had a juicer just every day, just juicing, trying to put as much vegetables in as I could, but just like, and that's all I had for about 23 days. And that was pretty brutal.
I
So
did a juice cleanse for, I think it was 3 days. I think it was just a 3-day one. And I love fresh juices. And I could not drink after only 3 days. I could not drink juice for like the next 6 months. How 23 days? God bless you.
it was no, I'm not gonna lie. It wasn't enjoyable. It wasn't like, no, that was not bad. It was terrible. To the point where like I was picking up like raw, like, quote unquote raw recipes of how you can make like hot tomato soup with a blender, so it doesn't go above the degree, so you're still like, it's still
Yeah.
raw.
Like
And
118 or something.
yeah, but it was stuff I could still juice, you know what I mean? I could still kind of do like that, more or less, you know what I mean? Like it would be the tomato juice, all that kind of stuff, but then like garlic. And I tried, you could blend it to get it hot to the point where it's like soup. It was just awful. It was so bad. I don't know if my recipe was just terrible, but I tried to do whatever I could to make it different. Like I think during the end, I cheated a little bit, and I would make my own cashew milk. Like I went and got cashews from like Sprouts, and I made cashew milk, and then I would add some cashew milk into it to give it like a smoothie consist, not even a smoothie consistency, just like anything that's not straight juice. And that's as like deep as I went.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty terrible. I wouldn't recommend it.
No. No. Yeah, that sounds bad. So do you take supplements?
I do take supplements, actually. Yeah, I I try to, as much as I can, take quite a bit of them, because I feel like my diet, I can't always eat how I want. I mean, not even how I want. Like sometimes what I want is not good, but I feel
Yeah.
like at least if I could, help myself out by doing that, it kind of, in my own little world, it kind of helps even it out.
Mhm.
Yeah, I take so every day or every day I can. On tour, I take a little bit of a smaller, like I don't take every vitamin that I take when I'm at home, just because I try to take pill containers, but when you're out for 30 days or whatever, 20 days, doing that many pills and pill containers, you can't fit it all in there. So I'll like definitely make it down. But when I'm at home, I try to take a daily multivitamin, magnesium glycinate, soy lecithin, vitamin B12, omega 3s, L-theanine, vitamin C, D3, K2, a lot of biotin, lysine, and collagen.
That's awesome. Those are such good things.
Yeah, it's like over the years, like I would hear someone, someone I respect, I think that knows what they're talking about. Was, oh yeah, this is a very good vitamin for this. Oh, all right, cool. I'll add that in the mix. And like over the years, this is kind of the mixture that I get.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you notice, like, does the theanine, do you notice it like help you calm and focus? Like, can you, I guess even if going on and off tour, like whichever ones you're stopping and starting, like, do you feel like they're still helping you?
You know what? I feel like I take them in good faith that they are. Like I try to do a lot of like, I was talking about earlier, like when I'm super stressed, I'll smoke some weed. And like, I just hope by doing everything that I'm doing, it makes a difference. That I don't know which thing specifically makes this or that better, but I'm kind of having like blind good faith that it's doing its job.
Yeah. Because
Like,
theanine is one that you would notice more or less like an in the moment sort of thing. Whereas like, collagen, I mean, your joints should be better from that. Gut health would be improved, but it's not like an immediate kind of
long term, yeah, thing.
yeah. How much D3 do you take? What's the IU?
I just take 1,000 IU.
Okay.
Just one. Oh, I have no idea if that's low for what I need or high or whatever, but is that pretty low?
I mean, 1,000 is what's considered standard for like an adult, like, daily dosage, but like most people are so deficient um that and no one's really out in the sun like as much as you need to be to fully absorb it. So usually like 5,000 is actually a good amount, but that's one of the things like you can get like your blood tested, see what your levels are actually at. And one thing that's with the vitamin D too, well, with the vitamin D as well is since it's D3, supplement joke. Anyways, magnesium helps with the uptake of vitamin D. So that's really good that you take both of those as well. So it helps with, your body to like absorb and optimize it.
That's probably why I take like what you're saying is my mom's boyfriend, he ran a nutrition shop for a long time in Huntington Beach. In magnesium glycinate, he's the one who told me, yeah, you should be taking this. This is one of those you need to add into your routine. And that's probably why too, is to help that. Yeah, what you just said right there.
Yeah. And the glycinate's good too, because like it's sort of one of those magnesiums that's good for like, it checks a lot of boxes. Like it's good for like just overall well-being and, like muscle health and just like everything, helping with the deabsorbency. So like, glycinate's a good one for magnesium.
Nice.
I love talking about, so I do the podcast, but then the other part of my business, I do wellness coaching and I sell supplements. So that's why, I'm into it.
Yeah. So something I learned when I was building my house out in the desert, not being a builder, and it'll tie into the whole supplement thing, is like when you don't know how to do something or you're not really good at it, listen to people who are. Like it's insane to think, and I've totally been this way in my life, so I'm not gonna say I'm not guilty, but like when someone is giving someone advice and it's sound advice because they more or less probably know what they're talking about due to whatever their life of being interested in it or their education or whatever, and they're like, well, I don't know what I'm gonna like, the inability just to take the advice for what it is. And that's kind of how I've gotten to, like I said, I couldn't repeat to you why I'm taking everything I'm taking, but it's because of that. It's because I hear people like you saying, yeah, this is why you should do this. And I mean, not everyone I would listen to. Obviously, you can't listen to everyone, but like, when someone is reputable, you're like, this makes perfect sense. Okay, I'll add that. And I've just kind of been running with it. So based on that, I'll definitely up my D3.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to like get your levels checked, because, I am not able to prescribe or authorize anything, but I would probably up it a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense.
What's your, this is the last supplement question I'll ask. What's your multivitamin?
Oh, right now it's terrible. So just because, yeah, it's a CVS Men's Daily Vitamin right now.
Oh, wow. Just throw
Well,
it in the trash
here's
can,
why.
honestly.
So I was using for a while, one of the brands that my mom's boyfriend, he was a big distributor of Metagenics.
Uh-huh.
So I had these Metagenics like multivitamin packs where it was like 7 different pills in that. And I feel like that was probably a lot better than the multivitamin, but I ran out of those recently. And while on tour, I had to get this. So I'm just running out of this till I get something better after.
Yeah. I mean, those kind of, it's like, they're like the Centrum, like 1-a-day things, or what, is it a tablet?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. I mean, you can wait to finish it, or honestly, throw that shit out and just get something new, because your body, like the forms of the minerals and vitamins that are in there
Yeah.
are not super absorbable. And then like the tablets, unless it's like a food based or preferably food sourced, tablets just pass right through you.
Really, like it doesn't break down, your body doesn't absorb it.
Now, and
Well,
so it's like double whammied when it's like, the vitamin C, it's ascorbic acid, and the B12 is the cyanocobalamin, like these forms that your body just doesn't do much with.
yeah.
So, I mean, it's kind of, yeah.
No, thank you. I'm very glad to hear that. Now I can amend what I do. Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's 3 kinds of multis. There's like the conventional ones like that, and then there's food based, where more or less it's often that kind of vitamin mineral blend, but then they just add in like spinach powder and like, some bioflavonoids from like vitamin, or from like lemons or something. And it gives the illusion that it's healthy. Some of
Yeah.
them are better than others, but then you have like food sourced ones where like nutrients are legit, like they are from, fruits and vegetables. And that's a lot more rare to find. But obviously your body knows what to do with it better. So
Yeah,
multi,
that makes perfect sense. Yeah. See, there you go. I learned something new literally every day.
yeah. Um, let's see. Is there a quote that you like a lot?
Yeah. Kevin Seconds of 7 seconds. I'm gonna stay young until I die. Yeah.
Perfect.
I feel like I want to have a lifestyle, I want to feel as young as I can and until I can't.
Yeah. Sounds good. So that's a good segue into the next question, which is the tagline for my business is delay dying.
Yeah.
So in other words, being happier and healthier. So if you had to give someone advice or tips on how to delay dying or, stay younger, what would you say?
On how to stay younger,
Yeah.
I'd say moderation, like don't burn out. Yeah. If I want to have, if like, you like partying, you like having a good time and doing things you like to do, you'd want to try to live your life in a manner that you can do that as long as you can. And so if you burn too hot, you're going to burn out, moderate it, and you could have fun, do things until very, very old years. You see people jogging well into their late 80s, and like, that looks nice to be able to do that, to be able to be active until as long as possible.
Yeah. Do you, what kind of exercise stuff do you do?
It depends. I'm very on hot and cold at that. Sometimes, like I used to jog like a ton, and then I haven't jogging forever. Like I have like a weight set at my house, like adjustable weights that I try to do as much as I kind of can and remember to do. But honestly, a lot of it's drumming. Like the more I'm touring, the better in shape I am. Like once, one would think you should get in shape to tour more, but I feel like when I'm doing it, I love it. Like loading gear and all that stuff, I feel like I'm just working out the whole time. So that whole lifestyle of like getting up, you load in, you do all your stuff, you set up, all this, it's like that's just the lifestyle. And you're doing so much physical activity all day. And then on top of that, drumming for whether it's be 30 minutes to an hour or whatever. I feel like punk drumming, it's like jogging the whole time. So if your set is 30 minutes, like you're jogging for 30 minutes straight. And while you're jogging, you're punching the air the whole time. So I feel like the more I'm playing drums, like it makes me feel good. Obviously I try to go hike too, because I feel like hiking is good, just walking in inclines like that. But yeah, lately, lightweight workout and drumming has been most of my exercise.
Cool. I dig it. I mean, yeah, it's a powerhouse. That's good. Um, do you have anything cool coming up or coming out that you'd like to share on?
Yeah, I'm going to be going out on tour with the Adolescents next month. We are going to be going out with a few different bands staggered, but with Crazy in the Brain for the whole tour. And I don't know if you've never heard that band. They're really sick New Jersey band. So I just did a tour with them, drumming for a band called Slaughterhouse. And it was with Grade 2, which is a UK punk band that's ripping right now. And
They've been
Crazy in
on
the
here a couple years ago.
Yeah. Oh, they're
Yeah.
the best. Grade 2.
Yeah.
They're sick. Yeah. I literally just did 2 tours with them, DBS in Europe, and then I just did Slaughterhouse with them. And they're some of the best people. I'm really stoked to see their progress and what they're doing right now. They're doing some really rad stuff right now, like their future. And then so Crazy in the Brain though, I feel like they're kind of like a New Jersey Operation Ivy in a weird way. Like the singer, to me they kind of felt like an Operation Ivy meets Andrew WK, kind of like weird vibe. I love it. It's new, It's really cool. It's a really fun band to see. So we're doing the second half of July with them. And then on some shows, the Deviates are on it. On some shows, the Swinging Utters are on it. So it'll be and I think on some shows, Murphy's Law is on it too. So the next 2 months are going to be filled with quite a bunch of shows.
Where's that one? Is it going to be like East Coast or all over or what?
That one's the West Coast, pretty much like West Coast tour. And then I'm ending that one on the 28th, I believe it. I think it's the 28th. Death by Stereo is playing the Indecision 30-year anniversary at Garden Amphitheater. So that'll be fun. We're doing the band's first album, If Looks Could Kill, I'd Watch You Die, front to back. So so a good little pack months,
Sweet.
So,
yeah. Well, thank you so much for making time to be on here and to share how your brain works and the supplements you take that help your brain and all that stuff. It's been fun. Thank you.
Thank you for asking me. I really appreciate it. I'm stoked.